Welcome to the Community Focus Program. My name is Terry Kozlarich, your host, and with me today is Vicki Wolber, the Macomb County Emergency Management Coordinator. Welcome, Vicki.
Thank you for having me, Terry.
So give me a little bit of information and background on the Emergency Management Department.
Sure. The Emergency Management Department is run through Macomb County, and our office is established basically to handle preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation activities for the county for many types of emergencies and disasters that may happen.
So I understand that September's just passed, and that's Emergency Management Month, Disaster Month?
Yeah, National Preparedness Month, and they started that a few years ago after 9/11, and it's a month that is now set aside to try and remind people and focus on getting them and their families and businesses prepared.
When you talk about prepared, how would an individual go about preparing, and for how long would they need to prepare for?
There are several ways that people can prepare. One of those is creating a communications plan. If you ever have an emergency or disaster happens and you either want to find out if your friends and relatives are okay, or if you want to let other people know that you're okay, it's a good idea to have an out-of-town contact that everyone knows about. You can create a family disaster supply kit. Generally, we recommend that the kits are good and have enough supplies for 3 days, 72 hours. And in those kits, you would put clothing items, toiletries, some food, maybe if you have children or pets, you know, games or toys for them that are applicable.
Something that doesn't run on electricity?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's kind of like an expansion on the old fire drill. When something happens, you kind of...
Correct, or the old, stop, drop, and roll, or from the civil defense days of being prepared. Yes, it's taking care of yourself and your family until the first responders can get to you. Okay,
and what type of emergencies is Macomb County faced with?
In Macomb County, I think as most people would understand, we're most susceptible to weather-related events, severe winds, tornadoes, flooding, snowstorms, ice storms, things of that nature. But we also have hazards such as the infrastructure, like the blackout that we experienced a few years ago. We also have facilities that house hazardous chemicals. We have the train system throughout the county, so we have quite a variety.
And has Macomb County ever had an evacuation for any type of event?
Evacuations, if anything comes to mind, nothing that we mandated, but generally some of the scenarios have been obviously with flooding issues. If we know areas are going to be impacted, it's best if you know, the people take action and leave their property.
And what happens to those people who maybe are not able to leave their property? What happens to them?
Arrangements can be made for us to provide transportation for them, depending on where they live. Yes, definitely.
And have you ever helped other areas in events of a disaster? I mean, they're going on all over, obviously, the United States.
Yeah, depending, there is a system in place that we do need to follow. We don't advocate that people just self-deploy. So when we're requested through our official channels, yes, we can deploy personnel and resources. Currently, right now, I know there's some ambulance companies throughout the region that are deployed to the northeast area of the United States for the hurricane that they just had in the snowstorm.
And so what did Macomb County do for National Preparedness Month?
Within Macomb County, we advocate preparedness throughout the whole year, so that's normal for us. But what we generally do on an annual basis, we mail out letters to all of our school districts in advance of September school starting, letting them know the services that we have. This year we also did a one-day conference for businesses, a crisis management conference, if you will, and offered various techniques and workshops to help them stay prepared and keep their business viable.
And so why is that so important?
It's important because you want to make sure that you can either keep operations up and running or get them up and running in a short period of time. Obviously, it's important that for our economy and for our citizens that they're able to still go to the store if they need to get water or food or gas or things like that, and it just keeps everything running smooth. I think it gives a sense of security and instills confidence in the public.
So when you talk about evacuations and you say, you know, people aren't mandated to leave, how is it that you can convince people to leave, and what is one of the things that maybe keeps them from wanting to leave?
I think generally people don't want to leave because, one, I don't think that they think that anything's going to happen to them or that the impact isn't going to be that great. And so they decide to stay, and they think, well, we've had storms like this in the past. We've weathered it before. I'm sure we'll do that again. The most that you can do is really try to encourage them and get the message out, but you can also make it easier for them to leave if you can have shelters pre-planned already and have those opened up, or make arrangements with hotels and let the people know you need to leave and here's where you can go. You don't necessarily have to find it on your own.
So do you offer any type of training for people or additional information that can help them prepare?
We do preparedness workshops throughout the year, again, for any types of organizations, schools, church groups, businesses. We come out and do that. We also encourage, training through the American Red Cross and other associations that already exist for that purpose.
So do you partner with a lot of those?
Yes, many agencies we partner with for those reasons. Hospitals, businesses, again, various school districts. We work with other government agencies as well. So
you work with them throughout the year, not just in the event that something happens, it's like, hey, we're at your door, we need help?
Right, yeah. For us, it's a year-long process.
Okay.
And it's preparedness is one of the key elements of our program.
So when you talk about the hospitals and things, is it you go to them, they come to you? How does that work out?
Both. We actually have coalitions and a group that meets on a monthly basis.
Okay.
But then there's other times throughout the year that, if they have something in particular, if they're putting on a training or disaster exercise, we readily come out and assist them with that. So it works both ways, which is great.
Wow, that's some really good information. Well, we're going to take a break here, and we'll be right back.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Welcome back to Community Focus Program with Vicki Wolber from Macomb County Emergency Management. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here again.
So it's my understanding that you're getting a new Emergency Operations Center?
Yes, we are. We're very excited about the project. Within the county, we're building an Operations Center. We're actually renovating a current building that the county owns. And we're going to be combining 4 departments within the county into that facility. Emergency management, including our Emergency Operations Center, as well as the Sheriff's Dispatch, the Road Department's Traffic Operations Center, and also our entire IT department and the county's data center that the IT department runs.
So what you consider the major players in an emergency?
Yes, exactly.
So you brought some pictures. Why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. The first view that you'll see happens to be the main level of our center. It's actually 3 floors. There's a basement, and then the main level and the upper level. And on the main level, you'll find our 20 by 50 foot video wall, which is really the focal piece of the center. And within there, you have our dispatch operations are on the main level, as well as the traffic operations center personnel. The traffic operations center personnel are closest to the video wall, and right now they have approximately 200 cameras throughout the county at various intersections that they monitor. And then dispatch operations, that's your 911 call center when people call for emergencies within there. On the upper level, you find the emergency management offices. You find some of the traffic and construction engineers from the road department have offices there. And then that's also the emergency operations center, and then a large conference room that we can use as well. From the upper level, you can see the video wall. That was one of the main purposes. It's actually like a mezzanine up there, and we can see down to the main level. Everyone can see the video wall. We can share a common operating picture in emergencies and disasters, and it's really great for communications between the departments, and not only in emergencies, but also on a daily basis for some of the issues that may come up that we do need to talk about. And then the hub of all of our communications, or the data center, is actually located in the basement, and the IT department has their space and their offices on both the main level and the upper level. So we're very grateful that the executive's office had the vision to build this center for us, and it's really motivating, and we're all looking forward to it.
Kind of a state-of-the-art facility?
Yes.
So are there other facilities like this around the nation?
None quite like it that we've been able to find that combine all those 4 agencies into one. There are some similar, but no, we believe it's the first of its kind.
So you can basically man, as we talked earlier, maybe the cameras and things that you said on the road. How would that help?
It can help for, again, going back to even just a daily basis now. Dispatchers will know if a 911 call comes in, and if it's an area where a camera is at, they can pinpoint the camera to the accident or the incident that's going on, and they can relay the information to the police, fire, or EMS personnel that are responding. They can know whether there's injuries, if it's a multiple car accident, things of that nature. So it can really help with the resource allocation.
So the cameras can be controlled from the Emergency Operations Center?
Yes, everyone between the 3 departments of the Traffic Division, the Sheriff's Dispatch, or Emergency Operations Center, we can control the cameras, we can control the video screen and the wall, and we can share different views, or we can even select different views that just pertain to our office. Maybe we want to see, you know, just the weather, so we can have the National Weather Service broadcast up there, and then you can have the traffic cameras, you could have CNN on. Depending on what's going on. And
so you can see more than one thing at once, or?
Yes, we can. The wall, the setup of the video wall is very intricate, and the technology to go through, but yes, we can have various views. You can have the whole screen with just one view up there, or you can divide it. I forget how many. I think we have over 50 different views that we could have up at any one time.
Oh, so you could be looking at several different areas or several different things, the weather and flooding or whatever?
Yes, it's very versatile.
Wow, that sounds really cool. So in today's tight economy, how is this being funded in Macomb County?
The majority of it, probably close to 70% of it, is being funded through various grants that we've received. We've also do have some funding coming from the county through the general fund. And there's also funding available through the Sheriff's Office. So we were very proactive in trying to seek out the grants first, and you know, trying to be conscious of the economy that's going on, and you know, make most of the resources that we have.
Well, it definitely looks like mission control. So how is this going to help make your job easier?
Again, it'll make my job easier because the communication aspect and sharing the common operating picture. You know, right now we have a great relationship with the Sheriff's Dispatch, but a lot of our conversations are done over the phone. Information is relayed secondhand. They do have access to the road department's cameras right now, but we do not. So it'll help, again, to be able to share that same common operating picture. If it's a case where you need face-to-face, you know, it's just a case of being, you know, 5 seconds away. You can go from floor to floor and, you know, talk to one another.
So tell me, in an emergency operations center, when everybody else's power goes out, how are you going to still be able to perform your job?
Oh, we have plans. I think we have 3 different generators that back up our facility. We have redundancies built in within the center just for that purpose, because obviously we need to be up and running.
You do?
Yes.
You do. Do you also work with, say, like Michigan State Police through all this?
Yes, we report through the state police in incidents like this. We have also relationships with other government entities throughout the county and within the region that, you know, if we needed assistance, we would call upon them. We're also working with plans, you know, to share information and technology with other centers that are up and running. So a lot of good future plans.
Oh, that's all very interesting. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Bring this one.
Welcome back to the Community Focus Program with Macomb County Emergency Management Coordinator Vicki Wolber.
Hello again.
Welcome back. So a little bit earlier we talked about the volunteer agencies that you work with, and can you expand a little bit on that and tell me who some of them are?
Sure. I think as I mentioned before, we work with the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army. There's a large group that's known as VOAD, or volunteer organizations that are active in disaster. And they're quite a large group, and they have their own network. They're actually quite easy to access. You make one phone call, and you get into that network, and you get a whole host of different churches and volunteer organizations, human service type agencies that can come and help. Many times those types of agencies, they provide sheltering for us, they provide food and water, they provide canteen services, clothing, things of that nature that really help take care of the citizens during an emergency or disaster.
So they provide for the workers so that the workers can provide for the citizens?
Correct, yep. They take care of the workers as well. They provide relief for them. Some of them do health monitoring during the response phase to make sure that the workers are taking care of themselves, that they're taking breaks. They can help set up sleeping quarters, things of that nature for us. So yeah, they're an all-around service organizations for us.
So how and what should somebody be listening for when it comes to an emergency? How can they expect to be notified? I mean, I know there's sirens out in our area and things, but...
Right, generally for weather and mostly tornadoes, we use the sirens. But then our most common venues for notification are through the TV or radio. We routinely have access to those systems or to the emergency alert system that people are used to, and that's how we get our messages out. In case the power goes out, obviously that's why we advocate, battery-powered radios to have on hand, because we're still going to try to push those messages out. But we can also go door to door. We can hand out pamphlets at city halls, community centers like that to get the information out. And what we really need people to do is to listen and then to follow the instructions that we do give. If we're telling them, to shelter in place and, stay off the streets.
And what is shelter in place?
Shelter in place means to stay in your home, basically. Okay. And depending on the incident, there may be other actions we ask you to do. For instance, if there's some sort of chemical release, we may tell you, make sure your windows and your doors are closed, turn off your heating or air conditioned systems, things of that nature. But that's the important message, is to listen and then follow our instructions.
Do you find individuals maybe clogging the 911 system in an emergency?
Yes, that can happen. Obviously for them, luckily 911 has been ingrained to them, and they do use it for emergencies. And we do want people who truly are in an emergency situation and don't know what to do to call 911. But if you can also have the other people, listen for the instructions coming out over TV and radio. Again, depending on the incident, we'll have various hotlines set up. It will take some time to get those set up, but then we'll have other non-emergency numbers that people can call as well.
So do you have people who maybe just show up and want to help?
Certainly. You do have people that show up and want to help, and their intentions are good. We do try to discourage that, though, because if we're not ready for them, or if we're not ready for the type of service that they may be offering, it actually adds to the chaos for us during the emergency, and it gives us another area that we have to deal with that is really unexpected. So when we do ask for volunteers, it's usually in an orderly fashion. We're usually specific for what we want, and again, we want the people to heed those requests and heed our instructions for helping out.
So if somebody is looking to volunteer, should they come to the county ahead of time, or should they go to some of these agencies? What would be the best way
They can actually do both. Obviously, the American Red Cross, Salvation Army, a number of those human service type organizations accept volunteers all the time, and for various reasons. Within the county, we do have, at a county level, we do have some volunteer organizations and groups that are set up through our sheriff's office. Our health department has a medical reserve corps. There's many local communities that have community emergency response teams or CERT teams. There's neighborhood watch programs. So there are a variety of resources that people can volunteer for ahead of time. And then they're already in the system. Because generally we go to those established organizations first for our volunteers.
They have to have, kind of have clearances?
Correct. They go through clearances. They go through credentials. We already know that we're vetted. In most instances, if they're coming from an established organization, they've already had some sort of training. They might already have worked with our office, and they know what's expected of them, and they know what to expect from us as well.
So what you might find more helpful is maybe people just checking in on their neighbors, maybe in their local areas?
Correct. That's always a great idea as part of their preparedness, that they take care of their family and check on their neighbors and their friends. And that's all part of the response themselves. If we know, neighbors are taking care of neighbors, it makes the job for the first responders that much easier.
Wow. Well, you've given us a lot of great information, and I know that you gave us some websites that we're going to be running here at the end, and I want to thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It was a wonderful experience. Glad to do it.
I'm sure you got a lot of good information that people are interested in hearing.
Yes.
And we'll be running the information at the end of this. If you care to volunteer, contact one of these agencies. My name is Terry Kozlarich, your host, and thank you for watching.